Hello tanks and tankettes, and welcome to a light tank replay, the Type 62 in this case, courtesy of Delkahos here. This is one I don't think I've featured in a little while. In fact, it's probably been more than a little while. And it's also not that common of a sight on the battlefield, although you do see them around from time to time. So it's basically the Tier 7 Premium Chinese Light, which I think was in-game before a lot of the regular Chinese tanks, so it's the predecessor in some ways. And it does share a lot of features with the WZ-131. I think they are kind of the same tank, except one's like the production version and one's not, or something like that. I don't know. I could be completely wrong. But in what's the word I'm looking for? In common, there we go. That's not a difficult word. Why did I not remember that word? In common with other Chinese light tanks, it has a pretty reasonable gun. It's got basically a medium tank gun, and it also, with that, has fairly terrible gun handling. So you've got decent damage, decent penetration, but the actual time needed to aim the gun is somewhat more significant than perhaps other light tanks. You've also, of course, got terrible gun depression as well. So you could see quite how far Delkahos had to be sat forward in order to get some shots off there. So he's not quite hit 1,000 damage yet, but he's definitely going to do more than that. He's just looking to see if he can maybe spot something on the other side. His own team has largely come to the west flank here on Fisherman's Bay, and although there's a fair spread of enemy light tanks especially that have been spotted along the mid-ridge area, it's not looking like there's a huge number of enemy tanks in the town, so maybe we can surmise that the enemy team has a whole bunch of tanks on this side as well. Of course, we don't know yet. The only light tank that did go forward to get vision was the T-71, and he's not going to last too much longer. The WZ-131 is actually going to finish him off. So even though the T-71 does have backup, you know, he does have stuff helping him out theoretically, unfortunately, he was not able to survive. So Delkahos spots the opportunity to put some fire in on that T-25 too while they were spotted, and actually gets the kill once they'd been unspotted. So given that they were backing away, it wasn't that difficult to make a guess, but still, that's a very useful gun to have knocked out, given that it's a top tier machine. And having done that, he decides to reposition across to the town, because, you know, he could try and push forward on that flank, but we've fairly well established that there's a reasonable number of tanks up in the top left hand corner. So rather than charge down into lots of enemy guns, he's trying his luck on the other flank. You know, you can see the logic here, that he would use his mobility to reposition rather than charge into a whole bunch of guns when he doesn't have a lot of armor. So that Stridswagen's out the way, but oh, they've just lost a huge number of tanks on the other side. Yeah, they went from having like 5 tanks there to now just basically the Delkahos. So that 131 was able to, that single lone spotting tank was able to dramatically turn that flank around. So that's a bit of a blow for their team. So Delkahos is, I don't know, he's being a bit hesitant, a bit cautious here. I mean, he's clearly thinking that there might be something here. The WZ-131, the other 131, was spotted nearby, but I don't know, letting the OI experimental spot for you, well, he's not going to be spotting for you, but I suppose if the OI experimental had taken a bunch of hits, then Delkahos would have known it wasn't really safe to continue. But even so, you know, the route that he did take, he could have done that just fine and gotten round by the houses and used those for cover, which is exactly what he has done. So I think he was just a bit hesitant in moving forwards, especially now we've established that both 131s are on the other side. So anyway, that's one artillery taken out of commission, and he immediately repositions rather than just peeking over again, because although we know the 131s are over on the other flank, the Delkahos does have a very good range, a view range that is. In fact, it's what, 400 meters base view range, and there's also a Panzer IV-H there as well left alive. And because of the nature of this gun, well, he's almost certainly going to get spotted sitting here trying to take these shots. And there it is. And as the Panzer IV-H had actually fallen back, yeah, there we go, it's the Delkahos that actually spotted him. So a bit of a snapshot, and he gets kind of lucky in that it does hit. But in addition to that view range, the Delkahos also has quite a nasty gun for a tier 6 tank destroyer. And another bounce, or I think that was a critical actually in that case. But yeah, 2 in a row on a Delkahos. And the Delkahos is not known for its armour. That's a little bit unlucky. So he knows the Delkahos has fired and missed, so he actually has time to sit and aim that one, which is all well and good. But he must be a bit worried about the prospect of artillery right now. Although the OI Experimental, who has also pressed forward, so, you know, kudos to them for at least doing that. I think they were taking the brunt of the artillery attention, because that must have seemed like an easier, softer target to hit. Or, well, maybe not easier, but not softer rather, but certainly a bigger target, and therefore maybe one you'd be more likely to actually land some damage on. So that kind of worked out for Delkahos. Between the two of them, even if it was just the OI taking the attention of artillery, it was able to, they were able to both deal with this flank rather well, although it was pretty much Delkahos doing the damage. So that's another arty down, and if he gets the third one, well, that's a medal. In fact, I think even killing 2 is a medal these days, but I'm a bit out of the loop when it comes to arty medals, which are a bit kind of more obscure anyway. And as that was the last one, because artillery had, their own artillery had taken out the 131, the remaining 131 on the other flank, that was the victory. So there we go. That was quite a nice short game, and considering it was a relatively short game, 2.8k damage done with this gun is not half bad, considering what I've been saying about it not being the most reliable. And Delkahos was, for the majority of this game, he was taking his time, he was aiming his shots, and you can see there it really did pay off. The next highest damage was the Lafayette artillery, and then after that it does considerably drop off. So this is one of those ones where you look at the replay and you maybe think, oh yeah, this person's doing okay, and then you look at the team list and then you realise, actually no, this person was pretty much responsible for winning the match. And the fact that he got the Radley-Walters out of that, as well as the Pascucci's medal and a tank sniper for hitting the majority of his shots, and a high caliber, yeah, that was a pretty nice result. So there we are. It's a little bit of an awkward machine, perhaps, but you know, it's one that if you can get used to this, you can certainly get used to playing the regular ones, or vice versa. So that's it for this replay, and if you have enjoyed it, you can leave any comments below, you can hit the like button, you can sub to my channel if you haven't already, and as always, stay tuned for more.